Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm so happy you are here. And I want to thank the Harvard and the Catholic University of America Symposium for having me here today. We can share space together and talk about a very, very important topic, female genital mutilation / cutting, FGM/C prevention, and talking about stigma, supporting survivors. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go and share my screen. So as you can see here, we have RAHMA, and in our logo, you have the red ribbon. That's the majority of our work is around HIV and AIDS. But then we have this dark blue line up top, and that stands for the Global Movement to End FGM/C, so zero tolerance. So this logo is our new logo. It would officially launch in April. So by the time you view this presentation, our logo will be live. So please go to our site and learn why we chose these other colors as well. So Rahma is the Arabic word for mercy and compassion. So everything that we do here, we use mercy and compassion as our guide and as our leading principle. So what is Rahma? We were founded in 2012, that's me in the corner, and our mission has evolved from HIV in the Muslim community to HIV in all faith communities. And we also are doing work around FGM/C prevention, sexual health, and gender-based violence through education, advocacy, and empowerment. And our vision is that marginalized and vulnerable populations will feel safe in this world, regardless of their faith, or their gender identity, or their HIV status, or their lived experiences. So before we move forward, I do want to say that there is a trigger warning. You'll see some images that might trigger you. So if you want to exit this presentation now, it's completely fine. Okay, now we're going to move forward. So what is FGM/C? Right here you see images of 5 vaginas. And the first vagina is whole. There is no FGM/C. The woman is whole, everything's intact. And then in type 1, you can see the arrow is pointing up top. Partial or total removal of the clitoris happens here. That's considered type 1 of FGM/C. Type 2 is where, again, the clitoris is removed, plus the inside lips of the vagina are removed. That is type 2. Type 3, the clitoris, the inside lips, and the outside lips are removed. And then the vagina is sealed up. It could be sewn, it could be glued up, and only one little area is left open so the woman can pee or pass her blood when she has her menstruation cycle. So everything is sewn up in one tiny hole. And that is the most extreme form of FGM/C. And then type 4 is any non-medical procedures happening to the vaginal area. So getting piercings, for example, tattooing in the vaginal area, those are all considered FGM/C. But please note that every single type is considered FGM/C. I know sometimes we say, oh, type 1 is only circumcision, it's not too much. It's still considered FGM/C. They're all are considered forms of FGM. And every single form is recognized for the US and globally as a form of human rights abuse and child abuse. Right here in the US, 500,000 women and girls are at risk of FGM/C. Now you're probably wondering, how is that possible? That happens in other countries. That doesn't happen here. I can personally attest to you it does. We have talked to many survivors who have gotten cut right here in the US. And sometimes other girls might go home to visit their families, their country of origin, whether they're visiting for the summer or just a spring break, and they're cut while they're overseas. And they come back here, and that is called vacation cutting. And usually when a girl is cut, it happens when they're babies or when they're very young, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or below. So they can't give consent because they are children. Again, this is the form of child abuse. All forms are considered child abuse, and also brings on lifelong physical and mental effects. And here is a quote from a survivor. As a child, this happened to her. No one asked her, no one told her the lifelong effects or what happened to her as she grew into a woman, and she didn't have a say or a choice in the matter. So how can you help? Up top is this picture of the FGMC prevention team at GW, which is at George Washington University here in DC, Milken School of Public Health, and RAHMA. And we work together to create a toolkit for survivors and healthcare providers. So let's learn more about how you can help to be an advocate for change. So again, we have this toolkit. You go to fgmtoolkit.gw.edu. You can learn how to support survivors and how you can support healthcare providers. So you're a survivor, you have a section just for you to learn more. If you're a healthcare provider, a section just for you to learn more. And right now, currently as we speak, we're working on incorporating the voices of men and faith leaders. Men have a role to play to end FGM/C. Our grant, we titled it, We Were Cut for Men, because through our research and talking to survivors, women are cut for men. They are cut to make sure they stay virgins, are cut down on promiscuity before they get married. So they're cut for men. So go to this website and learn more about it. And the men part will be added probably early summer. And again, eliminate stigma. It's very important. We have survivors that do not go to doctors because they have faced stigma in the doctor's office, because doctors didn't know how to care. I wasn't familiar or aware. I didn't know anything about the culture they're from. So they face stigma in the doctor's office. They face stigma in the community because people aren't aware or understand what's going on and how FGMC is not just a one-time thing, it's a lifelong thing, has lifelong effects. And you, by being here, you're helping, because hopefully you'll leave here and you continue the conversation with your peers, at least 2 people, and then they continue with their peers, and it continues normalizing talking about FGM/C prevention, what we can do to be advocates for change. And volunteer with us. We have amazing people on our team who are trainers, who are doing workshops on FGM/C. We have people who are doing research. We have people who are upcoming advocates for change. And take in-depth classes with us. This is a very brief overview, but we do think like a detailed class on what is FGMC. We talk about pregnancy, talk about lifelong effects, the laws around FGM/C. So please, you want to learn more, contact us. And again, we do this work, but we can't do it for free. It's important to support this very, very critical work. And a lot of times we do it for free. We're volunteering because we know how important this work is. Support this work and support protecting our women and girls. And most of all, support survivors. Again, eliminate stigma. It is not a survivor's fault that they were cut. So stop stigmatizing them. And they have lifelong effects. Lifelong. Imagine you went through type 3, for example, and you're sewn up in one little tiny hole, and you're pregnant, and you're trying to give birth. You have to be recut. You have to be cut again so you can open up your vaginal area so you can push out the baby. Imagine going through that trauma again. Imagine. And then labor and delivery and postpartum recovery. Imagine having lifelong PTSD. Imagine you having memories as a child of being cut. That's PTSD. You're having flashbacks of going through that experience. And then think about family relationships. You know, we talk to survivors who were cut by their grandmother and they love their grandmother, but they are not happy about the act. How can they navigate that? So providing support to have this discussion with family. And if you have an aunt or a cousin or a sister that underwent FGM/C, learn about it and learn how to address stigma and educate yourselves. And again, healthcare providers, learn about FGM/C. We had a survivor who has not been to a doctor in 10 years because her first experience going to a doctor, the doctor was not trained and she saw her vaginal area and made a face. Just by making a face, she did not want to go back to the doctor because she didn't feel like it was a safe space. We had another survivor, a doctor brought in all these students to come stare at her vaginal area. And she felt like, she said her own words, quote unquote, like I was a monkey at a circus. So it's very, very important that we work together to support survivors and to address stigma. So please contact us, get involved. And this is our generic email here at info@havrahma.org, but you can email me directly at khadijah@havrahma.org, spelled KHADIJAH @havrahma.org, because only together we can end FGM/C. Thank you.